What is going on? This is Michael Hacker with the Hacker Outdoors podcast. Joey is joining us today from the sunny but cold Myrtle Beach as I'm stuck here in the frigid north. Today is a new format as we're trying to keep the recordings to approximately 40 minutes or less for quick listens 2 times a week. We hope you enjoy. So Joe, down in Myrtle Beach, man, so you're going to do some fishing this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna head out tomorrow, do some bank fishing. Thursday we're going out in the bass boat. Um, we have low tide pretty much all morning Thursday from about 7 a.m. till it hits dead low tide around 2. So Thursday's gonna be the best day, tide wise and weather wise. Um, I was gonna try to get out today, but it was just way too cold, which usually doesn't happen down here that it's that cold.
Well, I was out in this frigidness we were having earlier. It was
Oh yeah.
insane, man. It just my eyelets were freezing up, or my guides were freezing up. I had just chunks of ice hanging off of them. I took a video. I'm in the process of uploading it to the YouTube channel, um, aptly titled "Why Do I Always Get Skunked When I'm Filming?" Because I always tend to get skunked when I have my camera on, right? um, but
Yeah,
man,
that's
yeah, I don't blame you for not being out there this morning. Donna told me I was
well.
in
I,
for getting out there because it
I,
was cold.
I would have went out, but the thing is, the people down here don't like cold weather. So, um, the one guy I fished with was like, "Yeah, there's no way we're fishing tomorrow. It's supposed to be 20 something in the morning." He's like, "There's no way I'm going out."
Yeah.
So, I can't say I don't blame them. They don't usually get that cold of weather down here, so that this is kind of off for them.
Well, they're saying
It's
down all the
this
way
cold.
down, right? It's cold. I think in Florida they're getting a little bit of a cold snap too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. It's weird because I'm in Myrtle, the North Myrtle area, I guess technically what it is. And my buddy's down in Charleston, which is 70 miles from here for me. And yesterday was 60 here and it was 72 at where he was. So it's weird, but it was cold down there too today. But yeah, they're getting a cold snap.
Yeah. So you're going to be
So
targeting smallmouth or
largemouth.
largemouth?
Largemouth. Yep.
Oof, you're going to get some of those monster Florida hybrids
Yeah,
or
they had the Florida strains.
okay.
Um and they get huge. I mean, there's some big ones. My buddy Brennan had just a small comp on what day was that? I think Saturday, like a small club tournament on the Cooper River, and he caught some big ones, big ones. Um, the guy I'm going out with on Thursday was telling me the temperature in the river is still in the low 60s, so that's prime time right there for down here.
Jeez.
So
Oh, that's awesome. So what have you been doing down there? You sent some pictures about some lights in the sky.
yeah, just hanging out right now. Came down to the warmth. So when did we leave? I think we left Saturday morning. Got down here Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, I don't know if people know this. Myrtle Beach is a hot spot for UFO sightings. So Saturday night, I was out in the balcony, just enjoying the nice weather, overlooking the beach, and sure enough, there was some crazy light show going on in the sky that was not normal. Um, Out at sea, I mean, I don't know if there was possibly a military vessel out there, but way out at sea, you could see something on the water, and you could see these things, light shooting out of it, and in the sky there were these lights that were vertical, flashing back and forth each other and moving left, right, up, and down. Uh,
Well,
I did catch some
not
video of it.
not that I didn't believe you, but I went on Google and I was searching. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's Myrtle Beach UFOs, and there was an article, and actually you sent it back to me as well. That three however you say it, Horry County's cities among
Yeah,
top
Horry
10
County.
for most UFO sightings.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was shocked at how many UFO encounters there are all over Myrtle Beach. and I guess South Carolina in general. That's nuts. And I
Yeah.
think this is perfect timing, right? I saw this week that Obama revealed that he saw truth about aliens and UFOs while in office, and confirmed that he did have discussions about it. He would, of course, would not say whether or not they were real, but he did acknowledge that he sought after some information on that. And then, literally, I think it was yesterday, if not the day before, aliens in hiding until mankind is ready, ex-Israeli space head says. Like, that's from the New York Post. I'm like,
well, well, the thing is, what I saw Saturday night, that's not the first time. I've been coming down here for years and years and years and years. And 2 years ago, my daughter and I were out at the beach late at night and saw the same type of thing. So Saturday night when I saw it, I'm staying at my mother's place, and her husband and her are down here too. And I wanted to wake them up to show them, but they were asleep. Well, the next day I showed my stepfather, and he said that he saw the same thing the night before. And then when we went out on the balcony Sunday night, they were there again. The strangest thing. So I mean, Camp Lejeune is not too far from here, so that's a possibility. But they
aren't you?
definitely weren't normal planes.
Well, isn't the Bermuda Triangle right off the coast there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Um, not far.
Which is always weird when you think of that, right? Like when you were a kid and you heard about the Bermuda Triangle, you thought that it was going to have a much bigger role in your life as an adult. And then lo and behold, we haven't heard about it in a long, long time, right? Um, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we saw the International Space Station. What was that? Last night or the night before? I think it's going to pass over you tomorrow night, and then
Tomorrow, yeah.
here on what day? Thursday, I think.
I'm telling you, these things were were not, planes. No sound. They were vertical. So there was a white light up top, and then there was a red light at the bottom. And the one was it would stay steady and then randomly blink, and then it would move literally left, right, up, down, like moving in directions a plane wouldn't move, and there was no noise, dead silent. And they make it even better. In one of the videos I have, below it, when it would flash, there was these two other things that would flash back to it, and they would only flash back when the lights on the other one would flash. It was bizarre,
Hmm.
very crazy. Not saying it's aliens or anything, because like I said, Camp Lejeune is not too far from here,
Right.
so I mean, it could definitely be some type of military thing, but
Well, I mean, it's unidentified flying object. It
right.
doesn't necessarily mean it's alien, but I mean, we've caught our fair share of that up, all up and down the eastern seaboard here. And, I remember vividly, geez, going back about a decade ago, living in East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the, Giant Stadium is, or whatever the heck it's called now. And I was outside with my dog, and it was pitch black out. It was one of those really dark nights where the moon has already set. And I saw this thing moving across the sky, and it was maybe about this time of year, but it was just after a snow, so you had a lot of moisture in the air, and the air was acting as like a magnifying glass for the stars, so you could see a heck of a lot more stars and a lot more things going on um, above us. And it turns out that I saw the International Space Station, but because of this effect, this like magnification effect, you could see the like the arms of the International Space Station sticking out. And
Wow.
I mean, obviously, it wasn't like it was super close, but you could make it out with your naked eye. The International Space Station flying over. Um, but we've you have a lot of stories um, around here, and I think Rogan was talking about it on one of the podcasts that actually, like, Weehawken, New Jersey, is one of the hot spots for UFO sightings.
Yeah, it was for like last year. I do remember hearing that. Last year they had this huge influx there, and I think also in Brooklyn, some town in Brooklyn, like the hipster spot. I forget what it was called. William was it
Williamsburg.
Williamsburg? Yeah, I think Williamsburg was on there too.
Huh.
But yeah, I pulled that article up about the Horry County So number one on the list, go figure, is Gila Bend, Arizona, which is right by Area 51. Um, number two is Houston, British Columbia. And lo and behold, number three is South Carolina, Surfside Beach, which is Myrtle Beach. Then we got Sedona, Arizona, Sonora, California, and then Myrtle Beach at 6. And then ninth is North Myrtle, which is pretty crazy.
Well,
They actually had like one of those shows, you see on the Travel Channel, like Great Mysteries down here about all the influx of UFO sightings. But I think there's a lot of people seeing, like with Lejeune being so close, and there's other military installments around here too. Probably a lot of it's that, but there's also a thing called the Seneca Sounds that happen down here.
what is it?
Seneca, like Seneca, New York. Seneca Sounds.
Huh.
So basically, there's just these loud. They sound like explosions, and there's no reason for them. They're called the Seneca Sounds.
Well, I saw something on YouTube a while ago, and I don't think it's that, but there's it was like I want to call them angel sounds because it's like it sounds like angels singing or
Oh
playing.
no, excuse me. It's called Seneca Guns. The Seneca Gun Syndrome. Yeah, Seneca Guns.
Oh, I just googled it. There we go. Mystery boom, Seneca guns and earthquake. So we get them here, but there's a very good reason as to why we get them here, right? You have, Picatinny Arsenal is not too far up here in Morris County, and then you also have a couple quarries that are just up and down the river, so it just echoes and reverberates off the walls of the almost like a canyon effect
Yeah.
along the river. But that's something that's completely different. It looks like in just this quick article. That's very interesting.
Which is a stretch of close from the Outer Banks down to here. They have all these weird phenomena. And the Seneca Guns are just these loud, you know, there's news stories on them of just happening in like one town where it shakes the windows and breaks windows. It's just these loud, loud booms, unexplained. Now I've been down here when the sonic booms happen with planes flying by, and they'll announce on the news when that's the case. The military will say, yeah, that was us. But apparently, with these Seneca guns, these loud explosion type sounds happen and will rock just individual towns, and there's no explanation.
Yeah, I'm on this website, islandlifenc.com, and it says, while not unique to the Carolina coast, the Seneca guns are certainly most common along our shores. The Seneca guns are loud booming noises, mostly described as sounding like thunder or a cannon being shot, and can feel like a small earthquake on land. To date, there are no scientific explanations for the phenomenon. While many theories exist, none have been definitely proven. Not even the name itself can be confirmed. The name is claimed to be Seneca, attributed to both Seneca Lake in upstate New York, where the sounds are often heard, or from a Civil War battle in Seneca, Georgia, where the sounds mimic the booms of the cannon fire. Well,
Yep. So it's kind of weird how that all wraps back, isn't it?
yeah, that's super, super strange.
Because I remember being a child, being up there, Lake Seneca, and they talked about that stuff. The ghost, they'd hear the ghost thunder cannons and blah, blah, blah. And then when we came down here years ago, hearing people talking about Seneca guns, it was kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ocean right now. Actually, pretty good surf.
Well, we'll have to talk to Brian about that on
Mhm.
Friday when we have him on, or Thursday when we have him on. The surf, right? I have never been to Myrtle Beach. I always have this image of Eastbound and Down. I don't know if you ever saw that with Kenny Powers.
I have, yeah.
So I have a friend who's actually talking about moving down to Myrtle, or maybe Charleston. He's not 100% sure which one he's moving to yet, but it looks beautiful, man.
Well, it's the whole grandstands. I mean, it's miles and miles. I think the grandstand's over 60 miles long. So there is the downtown area of Myrtle Beach, which is, but outside of that, north and south is absolutely beautiful. The more north and south you go, it's gorgeous. This time of year, there's nobody down here. It stays warm for the most part, you know, throughout the winter.
Yeah. Are you gonna
which is
go
really, really
to?
nice.
Are you gonna go see Doc Antle over at the? What is it? The Myrtle Beach. Talk about Joe Exotic.
Yes, yes, maybe, maybe. Well, they actually have what's it, a liger down here too. You can go see.
Well, that's yeah, Doc Antle, man. He
Yeah, they're at Barefoot Landing.
that's crazy. I don't know.
Yep.
I'd like to see a liger.
I think we've seen it once with like, so when you, this place down here called Barefoot Landing. And it's like a tourist attraction. It's really neat. Got all these shops and it's around a like a lake. It's all these boardwalks. You walk to different shops. And on the one side, they have their display set up with big glass enclosures, and sometimes they'll have the liger out there to try to get people to go visit their location. I think we've seen it once.
Do you? I have a. I don't know. I have a hard time with that, right? Like these animals in captivity, especially when they're being utilized like that. I think that for zoos, I think it's kind of important, right? Like you get an understanding of wildlife, but
I will say this: that place there, it is very nice. That it looks like a legitimate zoo.
see, I
You
like
know,
that. Then I when I was in Egypt, we were coming back from. Geez, I'm trying to remember if it was Saqqara or if we were coming back from Giza itself, and we stopped and we were, stopped at a little hookah bar to get some tea or coffee or whatever and use the restroom. And right there outside of this restaurant, this guy had a tiger, like a legit, like tiger cub,
oh wow,
like maybe 5 foot long, sitting on his lap. And it was obvious that this thing was not well taken care of. It was obvious
yeah.
that this thing was drugged up. And you had these hordes of tourists from all over the world just going up to this tiger and petting it and like asking to hold it. And it was heartbreaking to see, man. Like you just, I don't know, like that stuff I'm not cool with.
I So I remember in Mexico, driving through Mexico, going to one of the Mayan ruins. You would drive to these towns, and they would have the monkeys on chains in the trees for like tourist attractions like that. That was really sad to see. But the place down here, believe it or not, I mean, it is very, very nice. Looks like a nice zoo. The enclosure is spacious, plenty of room for the animals, and they all look well taken care of. It's not one of those backwood places you see, like what like you're describing in Egypt. So, but seeing stuff like that too, I mean, it is heartbreaking to me when you see that. But that's not the case down here.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and then like surprisingly, like at the pyramids of Giza, we went camel riding, and the camels looked all incredibly well taken care of.
uh,
They didn't have a spot on them. They were well cleaned. Obviously, they were well fed. They were fat. And I mean, that was good to see because you hear horror stories about people going to these places anywhere on vacation and you go horseback riding or whatever, and you look at these animals and just see that they're um, emaciated and obviously not taken care of at all. Um, and I think if you get into a situation like that when you're traveling and you happen across an animal that's not being taken care of, I mean, you do not start throwing a hissy fit. I mean, you especially if you're not in America because you're not going to be treated the same. You just don't engage with that. You don't give them their money, and if you're with people, please, tell them to do the same. Don't, do not give money to these people because it's just going to continue to perpetrate this um, cycle of abuse for these poor animals. As long as the tourists are willing to take pictures with them, they're gonna continue to have these animals. I think it.
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, but it's a shame because you also know. I mean, on the flip side, if you're not, taking pictures and you're not giving them money to do these things with these animals, then what are they doing with the animal if it's not, being fed now when they have income coming in? What are they going to do when they don't have income?
Right.
Yeah. Ah, shame.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, in Mexico, that was a sad sight to see um, when you were driving through there. And seeing seeing the monkeys chained to the tree, and that was really sad to see. But down here, for the most part, I haven't ran across anything like that. You know, I'll send you the link to the place where I was talking about. It will actually surprise you how nice it is and well put together.
Hmm. Yeah, I gotta check it out. And like I said, it's been on our list to get down there. I think Don and I both really enjoy the Carolinas in general, but I don't know. We're Northerners.
Oh, dude, North Myrtle, South Myrtle, the Southern Outer Banks. My mother has a piece of property they're starting to build a house on the Emerald Island. That's just absolutely gorgeous. It's like nothing you would expect to see on the East Coast, especially this, the Southern Outer Banks, because they did a really great job of preserving the natural um, environment. So you're seeing these beaches in their natural state. It's beautiful. Um,
Yeah, that's a huge problem here, right? Like where we live, that beaches aren't preserved like they should be, right? Like
yeah,
you have all these issues for a few years here. There's a town down the shore, Deal. They were trying to block parking access, and surfers were having a conniption fit. And it's a pretty affluent town, but I remember, we never went to the Jersey Shore growing up. We went up to Cape Cod, we went up to Rhode Island where we had family, and like these are just large, in some cases, inhabited swaths of beach for miles and miles and miles. And you don't really get that here in New Jersey. I mean, you have Sandy Hook, you have, some parts of Island Beach State Park, you have, of course, there's a small portion I believe it's Wildwood, that are all preserves in some way, shape, or form. But most of the towns are developed. You have to pay to get on. There's a lot
yeah.
of access issues, and you don't really think of it as that. I mean, the surfing community really stepped up and fought the township of Deal for trying to change the parking regulations there, because it really came across as they were trying to keep it just for locals only. And I get it; it's a problem when you have people coming from all over the place. I know it's not always
Yeah.
ideal if you have a multi-million-dollar house on the beach and you don't want people from all over the
Well,
state and beyond coming, but I,
I, I mean, so where my mother and stepfather bought this beachfront properties is where they're going to retire. It's the Southern Outer Banks, Cataract County. You know, it's this island. It's not very long, and it faces south on the Atlantic. Um, Actually, at the one end of that island is Fort Macon from the Civil War, and then at the other end is they call it Emerald Beach. So you got like Emerald Beach, Indian Beach, a couple other names, but I took a friend down there once, and she was only used to seeing the beaches of Ocean City, Jersey, and she couldn't believe what she was seeing with like the mangrove trees and just the dunes down there, what they look like, and all the wildlife in there. It's crazy to see, and they do a really good job for the most part in the Outer Banks, keeping that way. It's just gorgeous, and she couldn't believe it. She's like, "What are these trees? How do they get here?" Like, "Huh? Like this isn't the beach." I'm like, "It is.
right. Yeah, where my
This would look like if
grandfather.
it wasn't developed." You
Yeah,
know,
I would wonder. I would love to know what it would look like here in Jersey if if it wasn't developed. Actually, we'll probably talk to Brian about this a little bit later this week. And as we're winding down here, I think this is a good place to end. Like Captain Kidd was a New Yorker, famous pirate, right? We'll talk a little bit about that later this week. But Captain Kidd was wanted. He was a privateer turned pirate, supposedly, allegedly, and when he came back and got arrested, the treasure that he had stolen and all this money that he had stolen had gone missing. So the working theory is that he was dropping off caches of money and gold and everything else that he's been stealing up and down the coast. So there was I believe it's Gardner Island in Long Island, and then he came around and apparently spent some time off the coast of New Jersey. So the one of the running theories is that the part of his treasure is buried somewhere on the Jersey coast. And
or it could still be there because they found Blackbeard ship right by you know in Beaufort, North Carolina, which is not far at all from Indian Beach, and those are the waters Blackbeard were in. People think pirates; they think down in the Caribbean a lot, but a lot of time they were up here and up by you too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I think you can. I think they're going to start having like taking people out to dive on Blackbeard ship. I think. Don't quote me on that one. I could be very wrong on that. But they discovered that not too long ago, just
Yeah,
off the coast from where the beach house is going to be, and right the town of Beaufort. I mean, it's pretty crazy when you think of it.
yeah. That's a subset of outdoor life that always intrigues me, right? Is treasure
Yeah,
hunters and finding pirate treasure and all these. I mean, just think of all the ships that were lost off the coast here, prior to the United States being the United States, when we were just colonies, and
oh yeah,
just the vastness of the ocean. And there's places down by my grandfather's house down in Florida that they would have gold coins wash up constantly. So there's
oh
treasure
that would
out
be
there.
great.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Oh, it's still out there. I mean, especially if you ever look at a sea map of all the shipwrecks off the Carolina coast or South. It's insane when you start looking at them. Insane how many there was.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Um,
Well, Joe, let's wrap it
especially
up.
around like the Indian Beach area. Oof, tons. All right,
Hey, brother,
and
and we'll touch base
we'll
later
have
this week.
Brian on Thursday.
We'll have Brian on Thursday, trying to shoot
Cool.
to
Yeah, good
record in
deal.
the evening, so we'll get that up and on everyone's radar on Friday morning, per usual. Guys, if you enjoyed what you heard here today,
Cool.
please go ahead and subscribe. Please give us a like, a comment on any platform that you do listen to, and we thank you for checking us out. And Joe, always a good conversation. Please, good luck fishing. Knock it dead.
Always good.
Break a leg.
So I got it all dialed in for Thursday, guys. Don't worry. So the
Awesome.
the internet's a little tricky down here, but I found the perfect spot. So thank you guys, and we'll
Awesome.
talk to you soon.
Thank you, Joe. Take care.
All right, buddy.
All right,
See you,
bye.
man.
All right, so that was the Hacker Outdoors podcast with Joey McCormack. If you liked what you heard, please give us a rating on whatever platform you are listening to or watching this on. Please check out the show notes below for some links about the topics we discussed today. So I thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk again next week. Take care.